Real estate meetups always feel like middle school lunch all over again. You walk in and suddenly you have no idea where to sit, who to talk to, or why everyone else seems to know each other. And if you're introverted like me, you are desperately trying to find someone who just looks friendly because you have no idea how to start a conversation. There's also always a big guest speaker everyone came to see. And does their talk have anything to do with your strategy? Honestly, it's kind of a coin flip. Hi, I'm Sabrina and I'm failing forward in real estate to build a more durable life. And I am introverted to the core. So in this video, we're gonna talk about why real estate meetups might feel hard for you and 5 steps you can take to get value out of them without wanting to hide in the bathroom. So first, I wanna just start off by saying that the people who organize these meetups are amazing. They are giving of their time and they are providing a space for people to come together. The speakers who volunteer are also amazing. They're giving of their time and sharing their insights. So, the critiques that I'm going to provide in this video are not against these people, but it's really about the structure that might be making it harder for people who are new and particularly those who are introverted. So first, why do real estate meetups feel so hard? Well, I think the main reason is because you feel like you have to perform. You know, people are talking about all the deals that they're doing and the strategies that they're trying. And if you're just getting started, it might feel a little intimidating to not have a lot to talk about or to just be, in the learning information phase. There's also a bit of performance to just kind of, the upbeat energy as you're meeting new people. And if you're introverted, the energy required to be friendly over a long period of time is exhausting, right? Putting your face into a smile for hours and hours can start to feel like a full body workout. And I'm gonna share something pretty embarrassing, but for the first few meetups that I started to go to, I actually brought a bingo card with me in my bag with copies, just in case I needed a way to escape the small talk. Okay, so let's get into it. The real problem is the copy and paste format. Oftentimes you get to these meetups and you might have some general socializing or sets of rows of chairs that are set up so that you can have a long talk by a big name investor in the area or who's kind of, doing their rounds with their talk. And then there's just generalized networking. And this is wild to me. This structure and setup is wild to me because if the entire point of the meetup is the networking, connecting, getting to know people who are in that local area, why is almost no time spent structuring how you make those interactions and connections happen? So it's lots of time and energy and focus goes into who's going to be the speaker and what are they going to talk about and do they have the equipment they need to be able to do their presentation. But in my experience, very little, if no effort is put into how do we make conversations and help people get to know each other so that the connections and the networking can happen organically. And I want to be clear, this isn't anyone's fault. But it is just this kind of default mode, this generic playbook that a lot of real estate meetup organizers just follow. Now, of course, there are different ways that you could structure a meetup. But if you're not at the point where you're ready to raise your hand and be an organizer yourself, here are 5 steps that can help you approach your first or next real estate meetup. Action step number 1. Go in with a question. Literally one question. So here are some examples. I'm working on understanding my buy box. Can I run it by you? Or I'm learning about MTRs. Have you heard about Furnish Finder? Or this one's my favorite, particularly if you're talking to someone who you know has experience, either an experienced person in the group or maybe even the speaker themselves. What action really changed the game for you and got you some momentum? And the reason why the one question works is because it reduces the pressure for you to perform. You're simply asking the question and letting the person do all the work as they answer it. But if even that feels like too much or you feel too new, action step number 2 is to have an entry line. And an entry line is simply a really easy opener. So here are some examples. Hi, I'm new. Mind if I join you? Or what are you working on these days? Or what brought you to this meetup? And so the entry line is great because it just allows you to open the door and then again have them respond to you. And also just by naming yourself as someone new, it just automatically kind of has everyone else around you just sort of be more inviting. They want new people to have a good experience, and so they'll just kind of, bring you into whatever sort of conversation circle that they've got happening. Action step number 3 is to focus on reps. Now, many people give the advice, you just have to go in with one goal, collect 3 business cards or ask one question. And that's not bad advice, but honestly, the real magic happens from consistency. So look, there's no magic in some big conversation. It's in showing up over and over again until the meetup feels less foreign. Like the win is in the rep. The win is in just being there. If you show up consistently, even a little awkward, even a little quiet, people start to recognize your face. And when they start to recognize your face, they will start to greet you and be excited to see you because again, people who are at these meetups, they want people to come consistently. They want that kind of core group of people who are really committed and connected and are building relationships. And if you put in a little bit of effort to make sure that you just show up consistently, then you can be one of those core people. Recognition builds comfort, and comfort starts conversations. And that is where the magic happens. So here's your concrete action step. I'm going to the meetup every month for 6 months. And honestly, this is something I'm working on. I've kind of been a real estate meetup dabbler in the past, and I'm really trying to just settle in on the 1 or 2 that I know that I can commit to so that I can really start to get to know people. They can start to get to know me because I recognize that it's in the showing up, in the becoming that core member, that is really where you start to make connections and see real opportunities. So I want to get to the point where when I show up, people say, "Hey, Sabrina, it's nice to see you again." And I don't really care if I get, 2 business cards or exchange numbers with 3 people. Action step number 4, leave when you're done. You don't need to force yourself to be a social machine. Like when it's time to go, bounce and be out. Like you don't get any extra rewards from missing dinner or, having to drive way late at night because you just wanted to be the last one there. And trust me, your nervous system will thank you. And action step number 5 is remember, the meetup is not the magic, the work is. So here's what I've learned. There's nothing magical about going to meetups. It's the work between the meetups that's the magic. It's the agent calls. It's the starting the direct mail campaign to go direct to seller. It's the learning your buy box. It's the putting in offers. And hear me when I tell you, going to the meetups is not going to reduce the fear of doing the work and taking on the risk. But doing the work gives you that meaningful thing to talk about when you go to the meetup. It gives you the question. It gives you that story that you can share with people as you're networking and chatting. So those are my 5 action steps. And I haven't had a breakthrough moment with a real estate meetup. No partner, no private money lender, but I've certainly heard from others that these meetups is where they've met these people and made these connections. And the gold has never been in, like the big speaker, but it is in those relationships. And you can build those over time if you show up consistently and consistently do the hard work in between meetings so that people know how to help you and so that you have an opportunity that someone wants to be a part of. So if you feel awkward at real estate meetups, you are certainly not alone. But there are things you can do. And committing to the consistency can open up some really cool doors and opportunities, but only if you're doing the hard, meaningful work in between the meetings. And of course, if all else fails, you can always bring a bingo card like I did. I'll see you on the next one.